All right, this is John Krysinsky, Pittsburgh Soccer Now, with me tonight, making his Pittsburgh Sports Live debut, but at least a one-year veteran with Pittsburgh Soccer Now. It's Jordan Smith. Jordan, great to have you here.
Thanks.
Great to be back at Highmark Stadium for you, I'm sure, but tonight's result for the Riverhounds, not very good. Again, another 1-0 loss, this time to the Austin Bold FC. It's like a rough night for the Riverhounds. They give up a goal 53 seconds into the match, and then just like the last home game against Charlotte, they just can't figure out how to solve a team that just sits back and bunkers for pretty much most of the match. So what were your thoughts or your immediate takeaways?
Yeah, I mean, they need to be more aggressive. They need to be more dynamic when attacking. Personally, throughout the whole game, I was just waiting for a guy to take 1-2 guys on. And yeah, you might give it away, but when you have 75% of the possession, at some point you got to take a risk. Maybe you don't do that in the first half, but maybe in the second half, some of these forwards, Dequa, Dixon, even Kenny Forbes, Danny Griffin, one of them take on a guy and let one go. But I didn't see too much of that tonight. It was just bland.
Yeah, I mean, we waited until the 79th or 80th minute. Tommy Wilkinson off the bench, makes a nice move, gets close to the box, and then and lets one go and forces the only save of the night. For Austin's keeper. So, Bob Lilly had the team on the field for about 40 minutes. This had to be a record. And for Lilly, he tends to like to be on the field after the match, talk to his players, and sometimes he has them out there for a long period, but this was by far a record that we've seen. 40 maybe plus minutes. In fact, the Austin players were coming out of the locker room, going back to the looks like they were staying at the Sheraton Hotel, and Lilly's still out there chewing his players out. And what we heard from Bob Lilly in the press conference was that they didn't play with enough urgency, enough sense of, just play with a little bit more intensity, especially after giving up a goal so early in the match. He was so disappointed in the fact that they really didn't respond to that, and then they Austin goes into the half feeling pretty good about themselves, feeling like we can do this for another 45 minutes, continue to frustrate Pittsburgh, continue to let them play around the edge of the box. And you and I were watching the match together. You brought up the fact that, especially towards the end of the first half, it was a lot of side to side. They were getting it into the box, and they were often swarmed by two defenders. Just wasn't a lot of creativity, wasn't a lot of dynamic play in the final third.
And when they tried to kind of be dynamic, it was just kind of those little cute little flick with the outside of the foot, and then you give it away. Now, you kind of have to take those chances, but when they were trying to, there wasn't much skill shown off. But right now, they have a losing record. I think that's why Bob wanted to have this talk, and I think Bob would have had that 45-minute talk even if it was a 0-0 tie. Even if they didn't lose the game, I think he was still going to hammer into these guys after the game. But their record's 2-3-1. They have a losing record. I think Bob wanted that speech to really hit them hard and be a pivotal step, because every team at some point, usually early on, has a bad game, and they're 0-2 at home. Bob said he wants to be an entertaining team in front of his fans. He expects better. So we'll see how they do against Miami. That's going to be a tough match.
Yeah, I have a lot of notes here from what his, he went, not only does he go 40 minutes in the with his team, but then about 15 minutes with us in media. And look, I always appreciate Bob Lilly for being honest and just telling us what's going on, and I think that's refreshing. That he does that. But this is a team that's struggling to kind of find. I think they've tried to reestablish their identity this year, and in doing so, they're certainly struggling. Now, they won 2 games on the road against Loudoun United and New York Red Bulls. So obviously, those are 2 teams that are MLS second teams, essentially, with Loudoun as DC United's team. young teams with a lot of talent, and I think the Hounds showed some resolve by earning wins against those matches. But even against Loudoun, I mean, Bob he talked about the second half of that match allowing Loudoun to score 2 more goals, and it's just, they're just not seeing that complete performance, that intensity to just put a team away in that case, or in the case tonight when you fall down early in a match, to respond. This team is lacking some of those key quality values, virtues that championship caliber clubs have. And I think that's something that I think Riverhound fans, for the first time, I sit here and watch it and say, Riverhound fans have probably some reason for concern. But again, it's early, very early in the campaign.
Yeah. It's what I saw was, slightly. It would be concerning if I was a fan, because I've seen games like this. We all have, where it's totally lopsided. One team is completely dominating, and tonight the Riverhounds dominated in possession. They were in the opposition's end for like 80% of the game, and yet had 1 shot on goal.
Right.
We did lead in shots 10-4, but only 1 shot on goal, and Austin Bolt had 2 shots on goal. You would think, looking at some stats on the possession, it should have been 30 shots to 5. But no, only 1 shot on goal. So that's just showing a lack of creativity, a lack of spark in the players. Yeah, not enough urgency, like Bob said.
Yeah, and concerns, I don't see much on set pieces. I mean, they only had generated 5 corners tonight. When they get in set pieces, they just don't look dangerous. There were a couple free kicks from the edge of the box, who are the big guys to step up and get headers and those type of win headers and those type of things. So those are urgency type of situations. Those are situations when maybe you're not scoring in a run of play, you're still going to create those opportunities. You're going to find something. You're going to find a way to beat a team that's bunkering throughout a 90-minute match. So a lot of questions. This team has a lot of soul searching to do. Bob talked about this, Monday, bringing a lot of players in, talking to them. I don't know, what to anticipate there. We see that tonight it was the 3-4-3, where they were running the 3 back defenders. Danny Griffin, Canardo Forbes in the middle of the field. I mean, from a possession standpoint, no problems, right? But what do you do in that final third? And you've got this dynamic. You've got more forwards than you've ever had, in terms of a lineup options. I thought Tommy Williamson looked pretty good tonight. Dikwa, we both noticed this, commented that Albert Dikwa was at the top of the 3-man forward alignment, and I think he had like 9 passes all night, 9 touches.
Yeah.
They didn't, but I think you made the point, they didn't even get the ball to him.
No. Yeah, he was like hidden the whole game. Mm-hmm. And I know I've heard coaches say this, like, as a forward, you might only have 5 touches the whole game or 10 touches, but you got to make them count. Mm-hmm. But for how much they possessed, it's unbelievable that he only had 9 touches. Yeah. So they got to do a better job of getting him open if he's their goal scorer.
Yeah, he's at the top of the line, and he had Louis Perez got his first start as a Riverhound tonight. He looked. They want dynamic players. He looked dynamic in the second half when he came on as a sub against Charlotte, but I didn't see it tonight. I didn't see any of that, and I know he was playing in the position kind of like a wing, a wide striker, along with Alex Dixon as well, who was on the other side. So it just felt like, that creativity at the end they're just lacking right now. So definitely concerning for Riverhounds fans, but they turn it back around. They've got to play Miami FC on Saturday here, and then they have Indy 11 on the road in a midweek game, and then they have to go back to Tampa, who are just running, through they're way up at the top of the standings right now. So I would be concerned, and you definitely want to see that maybe Saturday's match against Miami, a talented team. I think everyone seems to believe that the Atlantic Division is going to be tough from top to bottom, and so no match will be easy. So moving forward, what do you think that the Riverhounds need to do?
Yeah, I'd like to see those trainings. I'd like to show up here and see if Bob yells at them for 45 minutes again, because maybe he'll do that tomorrow, training, maybe some conditioning. But Yeah, I mean, they got to just find ways to score. Some guys need to step up. I mean, I think this is a huge year for someone like Danny Griffin with playing side by side of a veteran like Forbes. It's time to, learn off Kenny and feed from him. And some of these forwards, they got to earn that starting spot, because as far as I'm concerned, Bob could interchange a lot of them.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see if a few of them just step up and start producing.
Yeah. As the lights behind us from Timemark Stadium went out, I think it's about time for us. It's been a long day, and
Long night, yeah.
thank you, Jordan, for joining me tonight, and really great to have you back on board with Pittsburgh Soccer Now. And look for all post-game reaction. We'll definitely have our player grades and analysis piece tomorrow or Tuesday on this match, and then start looking forward. We'll have the Hounds Notebook. Bob Lilly will have his weekly Zoom press conference, and he said a lot today, but I'm sure we'll get more from that as well.
Yeah.
So, again, this is going to be a very interesting, probably next 2 or 3 weeks to see how this team responds after starting the season with 2 losses at home. So, again, thank you, Jordan, for joining me, and thanks everybody out there for joining us. Have a good night.
Take care.
All right.